So all of us here at Whitetail Frenzy, we're pretty used to doing a lot of solo film hunting, but Saskatchewan, Canada is not the place I want to do it. But I look forward to this hunt every single year. Truly is the land of the giants. You never know when a 200-inch buck is going to walk out. But this year, no cameraman. I'm going to be trying to film myself. I had a bad wind for the stand that I was planning on hunting that first morning, and rather than risking it, I'm headed to a separate setup. It's a ground blind, and the wind direction is perfect for this set. So on day two, we're trying a tactic that we've never tried in Saskatchewan before. We're getting away from the bait site. We're getting about 150 yards back in the bush behind the bait site where several trails meet up, and we're hoping to catch some of those big bucks that cruise around the bait sites, checking for does that don't actually come in to feed during daylight hours.
Got the elite bow locked and loaded. I'm set up out here about 80 to 100 yards in front of me in this clearing. They've been feeding some good bucks on camera, but a lot of them are nocturnal. But right now, these bucks are so focused on does. A lot of them are hanging back. They're not going to the bait sites, especially the ones that are bigger and older that's been hunted a time or two. Some of those bucks are laying back. Got a trout on my left and a trout on my right coming from behind me to go out to that clearing, going to the feed. But then I got two other major trails coming through here. This just where some of these bucks are just skirting the edge, looking down in there and checking the bait site. Hopefully I can get lucky and catch one of these big old bucks cruising through here. Bucks like that, that's why I come up here. God, that deer looked like a stud. Just all big chocolate rack, big body. I looked back there and I saw him breathe that doe. I couldn't get the camera on him because it was behind the tree. He was only about 45 yards. Just no way to shoot that.
This is one time that I wish I had a gun in my hand. Here is one of the biggest bucks I've ever seen in my life, locked down on a doe, and there's nothing I can do. Throughout the afternoon, I watched this big buck breathe that doe 3 different times. He has her locked down behind the stand, and there's simply nothing I can do. This doe had been trying to get away from this buck all afternoon, and just before dark, she got out in front of him, and when she got out in front of him, she took off like there was a pack of coyotes behind her, and he took off right behind her. Right then, I knew, she's left the area. There's a chance he'll have her back in that same area tomorrow if she's still in. So I immediately start lowering down my gear, get the stand down, and I move the stand into that same general area where he had her pinned up all day.
When you find that big buck locked down on a doe, time is crucial. I mean, you have about 24 to 36 hours to get into that area without busting him out. And if you can do that, you have a shot.
Well, after a sleepless night, we headed to the stand well before daylight. We took a little feed, put out behind some trees just to give them a little extra incentive to come in. Now I just got to hope that this big buck does the same thing he did yesterday.
I'm excited about this set, to say the least. I saw a lot of deer activity behind me yesterday. Couldn't really get the camera to a lot of it, couldn't shoot a lot of it, and saw a brute of a buck chasing a doe, so I decided to move the stand last night. After I climbed down, put some feed out in here last night. I know I bumped some deer out coming in, but I got in here way before daylight, so hopefully things had time to settle down. The rut is here, the bucks are moving, and we are in Saskatchewan, baby. Anything can happen. I call this place the land of the giants. These deer are just like no other place I've ever been. They are huge. So I'm gonna set tight here today. Hopefully that old buck's still hemmed up with that doe and she brings it back in here today like she did yesterday. That or another Saskatchewan giant cruises through here. But hopefully it happens. I can put this elite bow to work today.
Well, it didn't take long after daylight for the action to heat up. I hear a buck grunting, I look out, and all I see is a big, tall chocolate rack coming my way. And at this point, it's just time to get ready, time to settle my breathing, and hope to make a good shot. Have I ever mentioned that solo filming while bow hunting during the rut is a pain in the butt? I mean, every time this buck stops where I can draw my bow, there's some type of tree or sticks in the kill zone, and I can't take the shot.
While I'm working these long shifts, Kenny's in Saskatchewan, he's passing up what some people would call dream bucks.
So by now, you all realize that this is obviously not the same buck from yesterday. But when I saw this buck coming in, chasing that doe, grunting, all I saw was a big, tall chocolate rack. And at that point, I'm like, this is the buck from yesterday. Then I was so focused on the camera and getting my bow that I wasn't looking at the deer. I'm really looking at the camera screen, trying to find when I can take the shot on this buck. And it took me a few minutes to realize that this was not the buck I was after.
Being in Saskatchewan and seeing the buck the day before would have been the only reason I could have passed on that deer.
Up to this point, it has been an action-packed day with tons of rut activity. I'm sitting there watching a couple young deer out in front of me. I happen to look over my shoulder, and there he is coming right at me. So as this buck starts to go away from me, my heart is sinking in my chest. And then all of a sudden, he turns and he's coming right back to me.
much underbrush down in here, just little short stuff. Be really hard to track through this crater. But, oh my God, what a deer! Yeah, baby, yes. This is something I don't think I have ever made this mistake since I've started wearing a safety harness. I lowered my bow down and stood up to start getting all my stuff packed up. I noticed my safety harness wasn't even attached. Just thank God nothing happened. I didn't fall out. There's been so many people get injured bad or lose their life and falling out of a stand because they didn't have these things hooked up. I don't know if I just didn't hook it up right and it came unhooked, or if I just completely forgot. But lesson learned for me. I cannot believe I did that. But if you're watching home, make sure if you're hunting in a tree stand, you always utilize a safety harness and have it hooked up properly. Can't believe I did that.
So after the shot, I looked back at the footage. On the camera screen, I thought the shot looked really good. I get down, I get on the blood trail. There is blood spraying everywhere. I'm on cloud 9. I think this buck is going to be just where he went out of sight. And I get there, and not only is there no deer, but the blood completely stopped. I decided the best thing at that point was just to back out, go get some dinner, and give this deer some time. What a whitetail. Take a look at this thing. This is an absolute giant. You know, he's one of the few deer I've taken that when I got my hands on him, he's a heck of a lot bigger on the ground than he was looking at him from the tree stand. There was absolute no ground shrinkage, big long main beams, heavy mass, dark chocolate antlers. I mean, this is exactly why you come to Saskatchewan. My shot placement, I looked back at the footage. I hit where I was aiming, but the deer was quartering to me slightly. So I know the shot came back a little further than it went in. So I decided to back out, give him a little bit of time. And I don't know that I really needed to, because he went about 150 yards and he is stiff as a board right now. But look at the body. I mean, look at the neck. These deer up here are just absolute giants. Tell you what, my trip back to West Virginia is going to be a good one, because I'm taking this big boy with me.